Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Hey, welcome. I'm still managing the slides over here and just got to get in here and make sure everybody knows. This is a pre-recorded episode. I'm recording on a Monday morning before Michelle and I hop in the car. We are headed for the mountains, as we talked about on our Monday broadcast. And so I just wanted to offer a little Wednesday message. And Michelle is actually upstairs working on the Friday broadcast as we speak. And so this is our way of making sure we, get something to you kind of on these subjects, even when we're away. So again, welcome. This is just pre-recorded conversation around kind of some more stuff on the future of White Hat Way. And this is kind of some phrasing that occurred to me recently as the best way to help, anybody who is a party to the efforts of White Hat Way can begin to better understand, what it is that we do and where we're going as a mission. And the things that I want to be able to share with everybody today is kind of this idea of, if I'm a dealer, what role can and will White Hat Way play in my business? And, there are multiple answers to that. There are multiple elements to what I would include in my answer about that. I would say that I want to talk to you today about three main categories of the way that White Hat Way is evolving. And even though you don't see it, we're working with potential partners, potential management team members, and others. And, my role becomes to clarify the mission, make sure that folks are clear, including, people who would be recipients of the services, to people who are partners and members of our management team and others across the industry. So for today, let me just try to clarify pieces of that. The first thing that White Hat Way will do in your future is it's going to educate. And that means education for dealers, and it means education for consumers ultimately. And there's lots to talk about there, lots to explain, but I would say that White Hat Way is going to continue to educate. We do it through the podcast. We're now 100 plus episodes of White Hat Wednesday, and there's a lot of education there. And it's really talking about how does the white hat dealer, the good guy, the good gal in the marketplace, how do they do business? We have a lot of experience there. We see a lot of dealers in the marketplace who are already, good guys and good gals and taking a long-term approach to the business and having a lot of success as a result. So I think what you can expect to see White Hat Way continue to do is to educate in a way that provides education around obviously some of the intangible things. Michelle and I spend a lot of time talking about that, the squiggly lines versus straight lines, the warm and fuzzies, and the things that are just as important to the success of your business as, buying the right cars and all the straight line stuff. So, that's part of where we will educate. Obviously, we have enough experience to offer straight line education as well. And I just think what you'll see is that we're first going to focus on all of the squiggly lines elements. And, I've started to socialize in some of our circles. And I can share here that we are now moving on white hat certification. That is something that we're formulating the curriculum now on what will be a white hat certification course so that, dealers can wear the badge that says I'm white hat certified. I took the test. I passed the course. I'm certified in certain ways. And that will ultimately give dealers access to certain services and access to certain parties, that would be part of a white hat ecosystem, if you will. So more to come on that. I would just say that we also look forward to educating consumers. And there's also some curriculum outlined. We're kind of at an outline stage on that part, but you will see us start to offer education for consumers for lots of reasons. And, chief among those would be to help them to have a more successful experience. And hopefully that experience is with you as a dealer, and being able to have your customers educated in a way that contributes to their success, understanding that their success is your success. And that's part of what you can see, White Hat Way begin to do. The other thing we will do is we'll start to mitigate. Okay. So we do that already as coaches. So what I mean by that is White Hat Way is in a great position to be able to step in and play a role primarily with dealers. Obviously, we're coaches and we're creating systems for coaches or for dealers first. And so we're really focused on how do we mitigate losses. And that's not just the portfolio losses that we're used to talking about in the buy here, pay here space between a dealer and the consumer. We're obviously looking to mitigate losses on portfolios, certainly, but we're also in a position to play a role to help mitigate losses between other business relationships and arrangements. So that can be dealers and vendors, that can be borrowers and lenders, that can be dealers and investors. This is where we know that we can play a role in mitigating. Why? Because White Hat Way is at the table wearing a figurative white hat, saying we're here to contribute to the success of this business arrangement. Say that again. We are here at the table as a party who's going to contribute to the success of this arrangement. So if you think about, where it comes up for me often, we have dealers reaching out to us and, hey, they're negotiating a deal with an investor, and the investor's new to the space, and it would be nice to have a party who can step in there and play a role, and we do it. I mean, we've filled that role in a number of occasions, but so if you think about what White Hat Way can do based on what it stands for, then it can bring that experience to the table and play a role between those parties so that you're able to increase the likelihood of success. How? By increasing the level of transparency in the arrangement, increasing the level of communication between the parties, and having an independent third party that is driving that education. Okay, so this is one way that you will see White Hat Way continue to mitigate. Even when it's just a dealer in mitigation, we're able to mitigate losses by coaching them through certain elements of the business. So obviously that's the part I say we've done for years. Like one of our jobs as a coach becomes to help advise a dealer operator to be able to mitigate losses and cut risk and optimize, reward against risk, et cetera. So that kind of mitigation is something we already do and will continue to do. And then we will be able to add in that White Hat brand, if you will, we'll be able to add this element of mitigation between other parties. And again, it's just about showing up to the table, wearing a white hat, and with the mission of seeing both parties be successful in the arrangement. So, it's pretty easy to begin to understand, what White Hat Way can look like in that regard. Third one, I promised 3. The third one is mediate. Okay. So you can say that that's in the context of mitigation, and it is. I just think it's important to kind of differentiate that one specifically, because one of the roles, especially when you think about the relationship between dealer and consumer, how can dealers expect that White Hat Way can contribute to their success by being a mediator? Well, let's back up a little bit. There's several things that can happen in this scenario, and where White Hat Way can come to the table as a interested third party who's genuinely caring and interested third party who wishes to see both parties be successful. So we're on the sidelines to begin with, and you will see White Hat Way begin with some dealers, those who are White Hat certified. We will be able to step into a role where we are able to drive a lot of engagement. It can be on the front end. It can be in the marketing and advertising arena where we actually are reaching out to consumers as White Hat Way, engaging them, connecting with them on all the things that you can envision that what White Hat Way would do and how they would speak to consumers. And now we don't have anything to sell them, right? We're simply there to reach them and connect with them and understand and get them to respond to us based on what we know that consumers are looking for. And now when they respond to us, we can introduce them to a dealer, in their area who is a White Hat certified dealer. So this is among the ways that you will see us begin to actually mediate. Now, the part that I'm leaving out is when we drive engagement, because as White Hat Way then begins to drive engagement with consumers on behalf of White Hat dealers, now we step in and we play a role where we drive engagement and education to those consumers who are your customers. They have already purchased, and now they are driving the car, and we are continuing to communicate with them and educate them in a way that is not a nuisance. If you're the dealer, then, many dealers communicate with their customers only at the time that they're past due. I mean, we know that's true, right? There are certain dealers who simply only communicate with their customers after they buy when they become past due. So what I want you to think about in terms of what White Hat Way looks like in the future is being able to play a role where we communicate with customers in an educational way. We deliver them high value content. We deliver them high value education. And now they begin to we begin to build equity. Michelle and I call that making trust deposits. We're making deposits with the customer. We're educating them. We're not becoming a nuisance. And they're happy to see the correspondence coming from us because it's not selling them anything, and it is driving engagement, and it's sitting on the ready to be able to step in and be a mediator between dealer and consumer in this case, at any time it's needed. And we're a more trusted advisor and mediator in that scenario because we've already created that relationship with the customer. Okay, so this is part of what we work to do. So this is just vision and concept today. However, it's easy for dealers to see how that works, and I think you can begin to see how that is a financial model that makes sense for dealers. So, obviously we don't have to discuss today anything about what pricing for that looks like and how it gets monetized, but I think you can connect the dots yourself and see how that would look. So just understand that's the drive. Now, did I tell you that any of those things would happen next month? No, it's all part of a progression, and we're working in that way. I just think that it's helpful for our audience to understand. Sometimes we talk about White Hat Way and it's a cool thing. It's like, yeah, that's nice. I definitely like the idea. I like the idea of, good guys and good gals in the industry. And so obviously now what we're doing is we're bringing together team members who understand the concept, share the vision, share the mission, and can help bring those pieces together. So, Michelle and I are taking advice from other coaches and people in the industry who say that, we can build our business by focusing more on who than how. It's where we're able to shift to a place where we find the people who can do the things. And so we simply carve out the roadmap, and we then build this thing. We create that roadmap and that vision. And now we bring the people in who can help execute on that vision. So we're doing that now. We're finalizing understanding with a number of people who are helping to do exactly that, or who are stepping in to fill certain roles. But I think when I think about you as a dealer, who was our typical listener on this broadcast, is like, think about how White Hat Way can begin to provide education for both you and your consumer. For you as a dealer, it can be all different forms of education. It can be group education. It could be online education. There's lots of ways that we will be able to deliver education to you as a dealer. Then it's about mitigating losses. It's about mitigating conflict in relationships, not just the one between you and your customer. And then also mediating those things where it becomes necessary. And we think any mediator can serve best when they are trusted at the table by both parties to represent the interest of both parties. And while we certainly are not naive, that we know that, the scenario that's most likely is that the dealer is our subscriber. Okay, we get that. The dealer, though, wants the customer to be able to come to the conversation. If they can't get them to answer a phone call, then that serves no purpose. They can't solve the problem unless they can communicate with the customer. And what I hope you're hearing in what is the vision of White Hat Way is that White Hat Way can do that. White Hat Way can communicate and have some level of equity in that relationship with the customer. And now when we bring the customer to a mediation, and it could very well be just virtual mediation. Okay. And so we're mediating when there's a conflict. And now that is something that, it's hard for a dealer to do that for themselves. The customer's obviously upset with the dealer, in that scenario, or vice versa. Obviously it goes both ways sometimes. But I think this is where we anticipate that White Hat Way can play a really important role and a significant financial role in terms of helping to reduce losses, to help, create more successful relationships, including the one between a dealer and consumer. But I think since Michelle's bound to be upstairs waiting for me to get in the car and head out, hopefully at the time you're viewing this on a Wednesday, that I'm in the middle of landing a rainbow trout. We're really looking forward to returning to a spot that we visited last year. And as we left there, we thought, can't wait to get back. And so this is our opportunity to go, get off the grid and unplug the phones and the computers and just kind of breathe the mountain air and enjoy the great outdoors. And so that's what we'll be doing for a few days here. And we may or may not be back in studio by Friday morning, but we've got a broadcast ready for you for Friday as well. So we appreciate you guys tuning in with us as always, and look forward to seeing you on a future episode.